Hi, I'm Michael Gordon, and I'm here today to discuss with you how easy and simple it is to develop your own sheet film at home using basic daylight processing equipment. We don't need a dark room. We don't need any fancy supplies. These are all products that you can get yourself from some suppliers, which I will mention. And the whole point of this video is to demonstrate how simple and how easy it is to develop film with daylight processing. Just to let you know, it's probably going to cost, for the array of items that I have here, it'll probably cost on the order of $500 to $700 to get started. But this is rather a lifetime supply of equipment, except for the chemistries, which will need to be replenished as we use them up. Otherwise, everything else we see here, including my changing tent off to my right, these are all items that should last a lifetime. What I have here is a Photoflex changing room. There are also another couple of changing rooms on the market. One is the Harrison changing tent, which is very popular and honestly probably the best changing tent you can get. And also the Calumet changing tent or changing room. Not exactly sure what they call it. This here again is the Photoflex changing room. We're also going to need a selection of graduates. My graduates run from 50 cc's all the way up to 1000 cc's. You're going to need no less than at least 4 graduates, and as we proceed in the video, I'll describe exactly which graduates I'll describe exactly which graduates you will need for each step of the way. You will also need a Rollo Pyro kit. This is the Pyro developing formula. The exact formula is called Rollo Pyro. This kit is sold by Bostic and Sullivan in New Mexico. It will produce about 33 liters of chemistry for on the order of $30 or so, which really amounts to pennies per sheet developed. We'll also need Kodak PhotoFlow or any other similar solution to Kodak PhotoFlow. This is a very inexpensive product and quite literally lasts a lifetime. I've been using the same bottle now for probably 8 years or so, and it's still mostly full. We'll also need Photographer's Formulary TF4 Archival Rapid Fixer. And this is a non-hardening rapid fixer. That's the most important thing. With the Rollo Pyro kit, you do need to use a non-hardening fixer, and this is the one you need, the Photographer's Formulary TF4. The single most expensive thing that you're going to have to purchase to develop your own sheet film at home via daylight process is the JOBO Expert 3010 drum. And this drum will hold 10 sheets of 4x5 film. It can also obviously hold less than 10 sheets. We'll get to that, but it's a 10-sheet drum. And unfortunately, as of this date, August 2009, this drum is now $500 retail new. You'll also need some sort of agitator base. These are widely available on eBay for anywhere from $10 to $20 a piece. Which unit you get doesn't matter because the JOBO drum fits on virtually any agitator base. Helpful but not required is a pipette. These will help you accurately measure your chemistries, and since we're using graduates that are marked, it does make the pipette unnecessary but helpful, especially when we're measuring very small quantities as we do with the solution A of the Rollo Pyro kit. This makes that very easy to measure. We're also going to need a darkroom thermometer, no different than any darkroom thermometer you've probably used in the past. You're also going to need a specialized stirring device. Mine is a chopstick. And lastly, we'll need a 1/4 teaspoon measurement. The sodium metaborate portion of the Rollo Pyro kit is measured in a 1/4 teaspoon, and there is my 1/4 teaspoon measurement. Oh, lastly, for the final rinsing portion, This is the low budget version, but this is a juice container that I've cut in half. I mix my photo flow with tap water in this container. No specialized container needed. Again, the whole point of this demonstration is to show you how simple it is and how few specialized tools we actually need to do this job. I think that, oh, and then lastly, Rollo Pyro. Pyro in general is considered a toxic or poisonous developer. In fact, the most harmful portion of this kit is the sodium metaborate. It is a powder. You do not want to inhale this powder. It could cause you some serious health consequences. Before I start handling any of these chemistries and begin my developing process, I always put on nitrile gloves. These are chemical resistant gloves. Normal latex gloves will not do the job with respect to keeping chemistry from passing through the gloves and getting on your skin. The most important part about using the Rollo Pyro kit is to avoid any contact with it, whether that's skin absorption, splashing into your eyes, swallowing, or inhalation of the powder. You want to avoid all of those. I think that about covers all the items. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to load your film into the JOBO drum. Before I proceed any further, I'd like to make it clear, just to protect myself, that you should be over 18 before you, the age of 18 that is, before you follow any of my processing advice. And again, this is just advice. These are not specific recommendations, nor are they specific instructions for how you should be doing your own developing. I would also like to add that when you get your Rollo Pyro kit, it is going to come with a instruction sheet. Please note that there is a safety section on the instruction sheet. I'm not sure if the instruction sheet looks today the same way, but the first thing it does state is pyro is a poison and it must be treated carefully. So I do want to reiterate that. And again, the nitrile gloves are essential, safety goggles are essential, and a breathing mask would be great as well to keep it from splashing into your mouth. When care is exercised, there's truly no reason to be too concerned with inhalation, ingestion, absorption, as long as you're exercising good care. I've been developing with Rollo Pyro for a number of years now. I've not had any health problems. I've had no spills. I've had no accidents. If you exercise due care, this is an easy process to deal with. There are other processing methods, daylight processing methods, as well as tools one can use to execute this job. For example, the BTZS tubes, better than the zone system. I've not used them, I don't have experience with them, so I can't comment on them. But the point I'm trying to make is that I specifically choose to use the JOBO Expert Drum, the Rollo Pyro formula, which produces for me these olive green stain negatives. Rollo Pyro is a staining developer. Those who use Pyro developers, which are staining developers, do so for greater sharpness, improved highlight separation, improved shadow separation, and a whole lot of other magical gobbledygook that other photographers don't buy into, but those of us developing with Pyro love this formula and we stick by it. So again, this is strictly a demonstration using the Rollo Pyro formula in a JOBO Expert Drum, but you can very well use your own choice of chemistry as well as BTZS tubes or even homemade tubes to do this development on your own. Okay, so the next part of our process is to load our film into the drum. Before I proceed, I just wanted to clarify again, this is a demonstration of developing 4x5 film, my choice of format. One can also develop 5x7 and 8x10 if they instead get the JOBO Expert 3005 drum. That will accommodate both 5x7 and 8x10. To load the film into the drum, what we're going to do is take our film. You'll notice that we have 5 cylinders. Each cylinder is separated by 2 discrete fins, which will allow us to get 2 sheets of film per cylinder. The way this will work is I'll take my sheet of film with the film notches in the upper right hand corner, in other words the emulsion facing inward toward the chemistry in the drum, and I'll carefully load that in on one side of those fins. So we're occupying half of the chamber with the first sheet of film. We'll then take the second sheet of film, again film notches in the upper right corner or emulsion facing inward toward the chemistry in the drum, and we'll load this in the other end of the chamber. Sorry about that. We'll carefully load that sheet of film into the other end of the chamber. Again, emulsion facing inward toward the chemistry. It's important to note that you do want to be careful when we're loading the film. We do not want one corner of one sheet to nick the emulsion of the other sheet. That would obviously scratch your film and cause a problem for you. So I've got two sheets loaded into one cylinder, very clearly separated by the fins. You would just proceed to do the same with the remaining 4 cylinders. This will allow us to develop 10 sheets of 4x5 film in one sitting. Okay, the next step of the process is I'm going to go ahead and load the whole drum up, and then we're going to come back. I'm going to have all my chemistries ready, and we're going to talk about that and get into the developing. Okay, so now I'm going to load my film into the drum inside the changing room. I previously demonstrated outside of the changing room how to load the film into the drum so that you could clearly see that. Obviously, you do not want to load your exposed film in daylight into the drum. It needs to be done inside your changing room. I just wanted to make those details clear to you. So now I'm going to go ahead and take everything into the drum. I'm taking the lid, into the changing room, taking the lid off the drum. I'm going to load both of these inside. I've also got a holder with a couple of sheets of film here. And then I've got a box of film with 8 exposed sheets. That gives me 10 sheets total. I'm going to fill up the drum completely. All of the changing rooms or changing tents are double walled and double zipped. So make sure that after you load everything into there, you do completely seal both zippers. I'd also like to recommend that you always wash your hands before changing film, whether it be in the field, whether it be for developing here in the changing room, whatever. Cleanliness just assures good negatives. So always wash your hands before doing this. And secondarily, if you are going to unload holders and reload holders and into a JOBO drum, I recommend breaking each step separately so that we don't accidentally mix exposed film with unexposed film with developed film, so on and so forth. Keep them distinct processes and do them all separately to avoid any mishaps. Okay, so my drum, my 10 sheets of film are inside the room, and now I'm going to go ahead and get busy and load up the drum. So while I'm loading the drum, I have a few thoughts I'd like to share with you. You're probably wondering, you know, why would I want to go through all this hassle? Why would I spend hundreds of dollars on all this equipment and go through all this tedious hassle, especially when you realize after 10 minutes or so of watching this video that I've only developed 10 sheets of film? So why is the hassle worth it? Well, let me tell you why. First of all, there's the imminent satisfaction that this process is entirely done by yourself. You're making your own art from start to finish, especially if you're using large format and sheet film and loading it yourself and developing it yourself. There's something eminently satisfactory about that. Secondly, is that you're probably familiar with the zone system and compensated or modified development. The reason why developing your own is valuable is that should you decide to have modified development, we can individually tailor the development for a certain number of sheets, and we can alter our chemistry, so on and so forth down the line. We're not committed to developing every sheet of our film by exactly the same process as it would be if you took it to a lab. Thirdly, and I'm speaking from personal experience here, there's nothing worse than having a lab destroy your negatives. It's happened to me. And that was pretty much the breaking point for me. I used to develop my own roll film prior to becoming a large format photographer, and I too thought that developing my own sheet film would just be too horribly tedious a project, and I gave the job to my lab until they destroyed my film, and that day forward I've been developing my own film. Those are the principal reasons why I really would advocate you do develop your own film. You can develop less than 10 sheets per batch. What's important to know and realize is that JOBO has a recommended minimum amount of chemistry that should be used in the drum per sheet. Secondarily, the number of sheets you have and the surface area of those sheets dictate how many sheets of film you should have in that drum. So essentially, what I'd recommend to you is that this is from my practical experience, that you don't develop any less than 7 sheets of film if you'll be using the whole 500 milliliters of chemistry. And we haven't gotten there yet, but that'll make sense to you down the road. But I can use the whole 500 milliliters of chemistry on 7 sheets or greater, but I wouldn't recommend that you develop anything less than 7 sheets in a batch, and frankly it might not be worth all this effort and time to do such a small amount. I did want to make also a special notice about working in high temperatures and humidity. You're going to find out that if you're in a non-air conditioned room and it's humid or it's hot and you spend too much time inside this tent, you may feel things start getting a little sticky. The emulsions, the drums, the way the film slides around, or I should say the drum, and the way the film slides around in the cylinders. I learned a very valuable experience on Kauai a few years ago when the humidity was high. I had no air conditioning, and I had a lot of sheets of film stick together, and being inside my changing room was a very miserable experience. So if you feel this heat and humidity start building up inside the tent, just close everything down, box your film up, put the lid on the drum to protect whatever film you have in there, and open it up, air it out, and get back in again. There's no harm in taking a break and coming back to it, as long as you seal everything tightly and close it up. I have all 10 sheets now loaded into the drum, and the next step is going to be, we're going to get on to developing this. Okay, so I'm putting together all my chemistries to get the development portion going. Before I get started, it's summer here in Southern California. It's probably the high 70s or 80 degrees outside today. Very typically, my tap water temperature during summer is well over the recommended development temperature of somewhere between 68 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. As a matter of fact, I just tapped off some water here, 500 milliliters of water, and came up with a temperature about 28 degrees Celsius, about 8 degrees Celsius over what the temperature should actually be. There are multiple methods to cool down your tap water. You can either chill to an optimal temperature. You can do an ice bath, whereby we take the graduate and put it in an ice bath, or you can do it by my simplified and easy man's method, which is take ice cubes and drop them in the water. We're developing with tap water, so it doesn't really matter that I'm using ordinary ice cubes from my freezer. Again, the idea is I want to get this 28 degrees Celsius temperature down to 20 degrees Celsius, which is 68F. And again, we're aiming for a temperature of 68 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's an optimal development temperature for most films, most chemistries. While I'm getting the water temperature just about perfect here, I thought I'd also mention that in general, black and white film developing, or I should say black and white chemistries, are a lot more forgiving and a lot more tolerant of miscalculations or slight inconsistencies and so forth. That isn't to say that you should be inconsistent or you should be sloppy in your habits, but the point I'm trying to express is that I do things a little unconventional perhaps compared to other photographers. The point is I stick to some level of consistency, such as dropping ice cubes in my water from my freezer, and I get it to the precise temperature. The point is I'm always doing it the same way every time. I don't have development problems. My negatives are very even, very smooth, very perfect, and give me exactly what I want. So the point is, be consistent with whatever you do. Understand that Rollo Pyro and black and white chemistries in general are reasonably forgiving. But most of all, stick to a consistent process and you're going to get good negatives out of it. Okay, I have my drum loaded up. I've got my nitrile gloves on, and I do want to mention that I'm not wearing a face mask, mouth protection. I don't have any safety goggles on. I seriously advocate that you do wear these items. I'm not doing it because, well, I'm a professional. No, I'm not doing it because I don't want to obscure the quality of the recording, and I guess I'm careful enough, but let's just hope I don't have an accident here on video. Okay, so what I have here is I have 7.5 milliliters of my solution A part of the Rollo Pyro. This is pre-measured, ready to go. Next, I have 15 milliliters of solution B. That's pre-mixed, ready to go. These are going to stay out of the water until 1 minute before we're ready to use the developer, because these chemistries oxidize rather quickly. So we're going to put these off to the side for now. Lastly, I have my sodium metaborate. Again, this is the dangerous portion of the Rollo Pyro kit, the third portion, the third solution to the whole formula. It's a powder form. Again, it's best to mix this into the 500 milliliters of water while I'm wearing face protection, because we do not want to inhale this sodium metaborate powder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 500 milliliters of sodium metaborate solution and I'm going to pour off 250 milliliters of it, exactly 1/2 of it. And the reason why is we're going to do a pre-rinse with 250 milliliters of this solution, and then at the very end of the development process, to complete the stain and the hardening, we're going to use the final 250 milliliters. Okay, so I've got all my chemistries ready to go. There really is only one thing left to do, and that's the pre-soak of the sodium metaborate solution in my 10 sheets of film. This pre-soak is going to run for 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get this started. I'm pouring in 250 milliliters. And I'm going to throw it on the motor. I am using my handy dandy microwave as my timer. And what's important to know is that we don't want to develop any constant agitation marks in any of the films. So what I'm going to do to prevent that is I'm going to flip this drum every 30 seconds. I'm going to flip it back and forward. And I do have a couple of comments regarding the pouring time and the flipping time of this drum. A lot of people factor in pour time. That is to say that the pour time is either added to or subtracted from the total development time. I don't make an issue of it. Again, I maintain my own sort of consistency, and that is to say the pour time is completely independent of my developing time. So my developing time for this batch of film, which is Ilford Delta 100, is going to be 9 minutes total. I do not factor in pour time to that 9 minutes of development time. I just disregard it. Others make a bigger deal out of it. I don't. I maintain my own consistency, and again, it works for me, so it's what I stick with. You'll notice that I've flipped the drum again for the second time, and now 10 seconds from now I'm going to flip again. This pre-soak is going to go on for 5 minutes. Again, this is the sodium metaboric pre-soak, and what that does is gets the emulsion ready for the developer, which comes after this initial 5-minute pre-soak. So we've got about another 3.5 minutes of this, and about 3.5 minutes from now, we're going to get to the developer. Okay, we're getting a little bit close towards the end of the pre-soak process. I did want to suggest to you that with regards to what you put down your drain, it's really important that you speak with your municipality to find out what's permitted and what isn't permitted. I've checked with my city. They allow me, in the quantities that I use, to dump everything down the drain. All 3 of these chemicals, including the silver that I generate from this, the waste silver that I generate from this development process. My city allows me to do it, yours may not. Please check with your municipality to find this out. Okay, now I have just 1 minute left remaining on my pre-soak time, and again, because these developers oxidize quickly, we want to mix these within 1 minute of the time I'm going to use them. And again, this is all mentioned in the instructions. I'm not doing anything that is not specified in the Rollo Pyro kit instructions. So simply follow the instructions, but I'm reciting them for you just so you'll have them. This is my last flip on the pre-soak. After this, I'll be pouring the pre-soak out, and then I'll be pouring my developer in. And again, we're going to be developing for a full 9 minutes using Ilford Delta 100 and my preferred contrast. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and it's now time for me to dump my pre-rinse. And you can't see the pre-rinse here, but it's a very blue, a deep blue-green sort of color. Hard to describe it, but I'm thoroughly dumping that pre-rinse out. There doesn't appear to be anything left in the drum. I'm not doing a water rinse. I'm just dumping the pre-rinse, and now I'm going straight into 500 milliliters of developer. I'm going to pour this into the drum, all 500 milliliters of it. Again, I'm not factoring in my pour time as part of the development equation. That's a separate time altogether. And we get 9 minutes of development. And again, I'll continue to flip the drum every 30 seconds. At this point, you've got 9 minutes to think about whatever's concerning you in life, because there's not a whole lot else to do. A few minutes from now, I'll actually go ahead and start prepping my fixer, because that's going to be coming up. But aside from the fixer, we don't have anything else to do other than flip this drum every 30 seconds and think about the things that trouble us or make us happy, whatever it may be. While I'm waiting on another 2 minutes of developing time, it's now time for me to mix my photographer's formulary TF4 archival rapid fixer. This gets mixed in a ratio of 1 to 4, I believe it is. Why am I forgetting? It's 50 mils of TF4 it's got to be 1 to 3. My label's so old I can't even read it any longer. It is 1 to 3. It's 50 mils of fixer and 150 mils of water. And I'm going to go ahead and get that mixed right now. There's my 50 mils of fixer. And the balance in water. And now I have just 1 minute remaining on the development time. What will happen is I'm going to dump the developer, and then I'm going to do a couple of quick rinses as per the instructions. I'll do a tap water rinse, After I do the tap water rinse, I'll then add my fixer and I'll fix for 5 minutes. Last flip of the drum. Okay, 9 minutes has elapsed and I'm dumping my developer, which is just this beautiful deep brown color. Yellowish brown. Developer's out, and now I'm going to do a couple of rinses. Again, if I had a JOBO lift for this, would make the job a heck of a lot easier, but I don't feel like paying for the lift, and I don't mind getting my hands dirty. It's all part of the process. I enjoy it all. There's one rinse. Still, we can see residual chemistry coming out. Looks a little bit on the yellow side, yellow-brown side. So we go ahead and do a second rinse. Again, the instructions clarify this, and the instructions call for 2 quick rinses within a minute. Within my experience, I've found the minute not to be particularly important. I just do 2 quick rinses. I don't make a big deal about how long it takes me to do it. Doesn't really matter. I maintain the same consistency every time. I'm turning the drum as I'm doing this casual rinse. My second rinse is coming out pretty clear. It tells me I've gotten most, if not all, of the developer out of the drum, which means that I can now proceed forth with fixing. I've got my 200 milliliters of fix here. Gets dumped into the drum, onto the motor, and we're letting it run for 5 minutes. And again, I'll continue to flip the drum every 30 seconds to avoid any sort of constant motion marks from the continuous singular motion. Okay, when you get the JOBO 3010 drum, provided you do get the instructions with it, it's going to tell you that you will need both the foot pump and a lift to operate the drum. What the foot pump does is it connects to the cog on the top here and allows us to use pressure to pop the cap off of the drum. It's a nice item to have. It would make removing the cap easier, but as I'll show you here in a few minutes, it's not an essential piece of equipment. Secondly is the JOBO lift. The JOBO lift would make easier work of the whole film development process, but again, the whole point behind this video is to show you that daylight development, simple daylight development of sheet film can be done in your own kitchen with a minimum amount of equipment, and that does include using a $10 or $20 motor versus using the JOBO lift, which could even used cost you several $100s. So this is just simplifying the process. I'm eliminating some equipment, I'm eliminating some cost, and I'm making it a little bit more complex, but as I think you'll agree, it's nothing too big of a deal to do it this way. Okay, I've got 10 seconds left on my fixing. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and what I'm going to do is dump my fixer. I'm again going to do another couple of quick rinses, and then I'm going to take my remaining 250 milliliters of sodium metaborate and do my final step in the whole development process, which will which will harden and stain the films. So again, 2 quick rinses. And by the way, most of this process is very, very friendly to the nose. Most people think that developing film is rather stinky. If we were in a conventional darkroom, we would be smelling a lot more of the chemistry. With this daylight process in a sealed drum, we smell very little chemistry, and in fact, the single most stinkiest portion of this process is the fixer. When we dump the fixer, you really can smell it. So I've got 2 quick rinses. Water's coming out clear after the second fixer rinse. Everything's looking good. Now all I have left is 2 minutes of development time with my remaining 250 milliliters of sodium metaborate. I'm going to pour that 250 in. Goes onto the motor, and again, I'm going to flip the drum every 30 seconds. And after these 2 minutes are done, the only thing we have left to do is dump the sodium metaborate and move on to washing our film to remove all the residual chemistries. Okay, I have 10 seconds remaining on the final phase of the development. This is the sodium metaborate finishing step, whereby we're hardening and staining the film. It was a 2 minute rinse with that. I've dumped it. I'm going to do a quick rinse, and then we're on to the final wash, which accounts for about 23 minutes of total time. We're going to wash this film to make sure all the chemistries are gone and that we get a good archival quality negative that we know is going to be here for us 100 years from now. Okay, now that we're done developing, we have only a couple of things left to do. We're going to do about 23 minutes of water rinsing to ensure that we've removed all the residual chemistry from the tank, from the films. This will ensure that we've got good negatives 100 years from now. And then finally, we're going to be in just plain old tap water in our custom-made orange juice container soaking device with our photo flow solution. We're going to dip our films and then hang them to dry. And I have a unique solution to present for an easy drying method that ensures dust-free drying. So, like I said, we're going to do 23 minutes of washing, and what we're going to do is break this down into about 8 or 9 individual washes. And what that is, we're going to do 4 1-minute washes, 1 2-minute wash, 1 3-minute wash, 1 4-minute wash, and then conclude with 2 5-minute washes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take 500 milliliters of plain old tap water, fill my drum with it, and I'm going to go ahead and turn on the agitator and let it rip. And this is a situation where we obviously do not need to flip the drum back and forth, because this is just simply water rinsing. We're done with the developing, so there's no reason to be concerned about any sort of agitation marks or anything on our film. So we're doing a 1-minute wash to start with. Okay, our first minute is elapsed. I'm going to go ahead and dump that 500 milliliters of water. And I have another 500 milliliters in my graduate ready to go. I'm going to fill her up. And I'm going to put this on for a minute as well. And again, this is, to start with, we're going to do 4 1-minute washes. I'd also like to let you know that you can see I'm not wearing gloves any longer. Now that I'm done playing with chemistry, I'm using only tap water. I'm okay to be gloveless. Photo flow solution is really nothing more than detergent. Not really any more harmful than plain old dish soap. So there's no harm in touching the photo flow. So we're gloveless at this point. Okay, we've now, I'm on my last 5-minute wash right now. Again, it's just a plain water wash. I've gone through 23 minutes. Well, when this concludes, it'll be 23 minutes of total time of washing. Again, each wash consists of 500 milliliters of water and my washes are 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then finally 2 5-minute washes to conclude. Once I dump the 500 milliliters of water out of here, I'm going to have my 10 sheets of film, which will then be ready to transfer to my drying cabinet. A lot of beginning large format photographers haven't the clue how best to dry their film, especially while eliminating dust and other problems. Dust is a big problem. They land on the film during the drying stage and then just get baked into the emulsion. A simple solution is one of these basic file boxes that you can pick up at any office supply store. The only thing I've done to this file box to make it anything different than normal is I have drilled a couple of about 6 holes in the box, very small holes which really cannot admit dust in but allow the transfer of air in and out. Just helps reduce the humidity inside and dry the film faster. And I have a basic Pendaflex file hanger which I use to hang the film from. And then in order to hang the film, we need to come up with some film clips. There are a lot of film clips on the market. I'm not going to tell you all about them. I'm just going to tell you that I prefer the JOBO film clips. It's probably no surprise that the JOBO film clips are also the most expensive film clips available. I believe a package of 10 costs somewhere in the order of $50 to $70, but they're great. They have a very fine point which allows me to grab right into the very corner of the film. I just got my warning alarm that my washing is now concluded. I get to turn the motor off. I don't have to hear this anymore. I'm going to dump my water. And I neglected to mention my photo flow solution. I already have a pre-mixed tank here. My special orange juice tank is pre-mixed with my photo flow solution in tap water. Photo flow is to be used 1 parts photo flow to 200 parts of water. I don't measure it in time. You'll learn to get a feel for the touch. I probably have yet to describe what photo flow does, and what it does is prevent spotting on your film. So your film, as it dries, will dry spotlessly and very cleanly. So photo flow solution ready to go, 10 film clips, my customized drying cabinet, and lastly my drum with 10 sheets of film. And I did mention earlier that the JOBO foot pump, which would attach to the top and help use pressure to blow the cap off, it's a solution. But if you've got strong fingertips, you really don't need to have the foot pump. You just kind of pry at the lid and rotate the drum, and eventually you just as you rotate and move it around, we'll end up finally getting into one corner of it. No need for the foot pump. And as you can see, my 10 sheets of film completely developed, ready to go. And so now the only thing that we need to do is to take each sheet of film out of the drum. Look at that beautiful green pyro negative. Take that sheet out, and I'm just going to go ahead and drop it into the photo flow. Everybody has their own technique for how they like to rinse their negatives in photo flow. I generally let mine be in here for 20 to 30 seconds or so. Sometimes even just letting them be in the photo flow solution isn't enough, and for some reason bits and pieces of things seem to cling to the emulsion side, so I tend to give it a little rub with the finger too to help break some of those things away. And I don't really have an explanation for that, but you can see it when you dry it. So I'm going to assume that I've given it about sufficient time in the photo flow. I'll take my film clip. It's got the nice sculpted connector on it, which will allow me to hang it neatly over the Pendaflex file. So now I'm just going to go ahead and reach in and grab my negative. And how you orient these in the drying cabinet is entirely up to you. I'm not going to make any suggestions as to how to do that. The main thing is just clip it carefully in the corner. You obviously do not want to puncture your negative. This is making a very small hole in the corner, and then we transfer it over to our drying cabinet. And between each sheet of film, I put the lid back on. I don't want any dust or anything else to settle inside my drying cabinet while I'm dealing with the other 9 sheets of film. So I do 1 sheet at a time and cover each. So we just proceed forth the same with all 10 sheets. Each sheet getting about 20 to 30 seconds bath time in the photo flow solution. You can take a look at this side view of the sheet, and this gives, especially when the light is striking it properly and I can really see how cleanly it's running, tells me I did a good job of soaking this in the photo flow. I've got nothing sticking to it, so on and so forth. So I'm going to process the remaining sheets of film the same in the photo flow. When it's all 10 sheets are inside my drying cabinet, generally it'll take anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to dry entirely. Of course, that depends upon your local climate and season, but give it sufficient time for drying. There's no rush, and you do not want to damage your negatives because the emulsions are still soft and they haven't dried properly. So I think that about concludes the tutorial I have for 4x5 film development using Rollo Pyro chemistry and just a bare minimum of tools, some of them in fact homemade, as you can see, including my drying box. So I thank you for watching and see you next time.